Holiness to the Lord, the house of the Lord. Where does the phrase holiness to the Lord originate? Why is it on a temple, and usually on the east side of the temple? What did the high priest wearing holiness to the Lord symbolize? What makes the house of the Lord holy? Where does the phrase holiness to the Lord originate? We first see holiness to the Lord in Exodus chapters 28 and 39, where the Lord specifies part of an ordinance of his tabernacle to the Hebrews. And thou shalt make a plate of pure gold, engrave upon it, like the engravings of a signet, holiness to the Lord. And thou shalt put it on a blue lace, that it may be upon the mitre. In this case, the mitre was a turban, upon the forefront of the mitre it shall be. And it shall be upon Aaron's forehead, that Aaron may bear the iniquity of the holy things, which the children of Israel shall hallow in all their holy gifts, and it shall be always upon his forehead, that they may be accepted before the Lord. Exodus chapter 28 verses 36 to 38. And they made the plate of the holy crown of pure gold, and wrote upon it a writing, like to the engravings of a signet, holiness to the Lord. And they tied unto it a lace of blue, to fasten it on high upon the mitre, as the Lord commanded Moses. Exodus 39 verses 30 to 31. Why is the phrase holiness to the Lord usually inscribed on the east side of the temple? Matthew 24, verses 27 and 30, may be referred to as a reason why holiness to the Lord is often found on the east side of Latter-day Saint temples. For as the lightning cometh out of the east, and shineth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. The phrase the house of the Lord first appeared on the Kirtland Temple, approved by the prophet Joseph Smith. And the phrase, holiness to the Lord first appeared on the Salt Lake Temple, approved by the prophet Brigham Young. What is the symbolism of the high priest wearing the phrase holiness to the Lord? Paul best explains this to the Hebrews of his time. Now when God ordained these things, the priests always went into the first tabernacle, accomplishing his service. But only the high priest went into the second tabernacle once every year, with blood, which he offered for himself, and for the errors of the people, the Holy Ghost thus signifying, that the way into heaven was not yet made manifest, while this first tabernacle was still standing, which was a type and shadow for that time, where both gifts and sacrifices were offered, that could not give him that did the service a perfectly clean conscience, which pertained only to meats and drinks, and divers washings, and carnal ordinances, imposed on those people until the time of Reformation. Hebrews 9 verses 6 to 10. But Christ becoming a high priest of good things to come, by a greater and more perfect body, not made with hands, that is to say, not of this building, neither by the blood of goats and calves, but by his own blood he once entered into heaven, having obtained eternal redemption for us. For if the blood of bulls and of goats, and the ashes of an heifer sprinkling those who are unclean, sanctifies and purifies their flesh, how much more shall the blood of Christ, who offered himself through the eternal Spirit without spot to God, purge your conscience from dead works to serve the living God? And for this cause he is the mediator of the New Testament, that by means of death, for the redemption of the transgressions that were under the first testament, those who are called might receive the promise of eternal inheritance. For where there is a testament, a will, there must also of necessity be the death of the testator. For a testament is in force after men are dead, otherwise it is not in force at all while the testator lives. Whereupon the first testament was dedicated with blood. For when Moses had spoken every precept to all the people according to the law, he took the blood of calves and of goats, with water, and scarlet wool, and hyssop, and sprinkled both the book, and all the people, saying, This is the blood of the testament which God hath enjoined you. Moreover he sprinkled both the tabernacle, and all the vessels of the ministry with blood. And almost all things are purged with blood by the law, and there is no remission without shedding of blood. Hebrews 9 verses 15 to 22. It was therefore necessary that the types and shadows of the things in the heavens should be purified with these, but the heavenly things themselves with a better sacrifice than these. For Christ isn't entered into the holy places made with hands, which are the types and shadows of the true, but into heaven itself, to appear in the presence of God for us, nor that he should still offer himself often, as the high priest entered into the holy place every year with the blood of others, for then he must have suffered often since the foundation of the world, but now, he appears only once at the end of the world, to put away sin by his sacrifice. And as it is appointed unto men to be judged after they die, so Christ was once offered to bear the sins of many, and he shall appear the second time to those that look for him, without sin unto salvation. Hebrews 9 verses 23-28. What makes the house of the Lord holy? There are 3 definitions of the word holiness. Another translation of the Hebrew phrase holiness to the Lord would be holy to the Lord, Kodesh, or holy for the Lord, Kadosh. When Moses met with the Lord on Mount Sinai, he was told to put off his shoes because he stood on holy ground. And he said, Draw not nigh hither, put off thy shoes from off thy feet, for the place whereon thou standest is holy ground. Exodus 3 verse 5. What made the ground, Kodesh, holy? In and of itself the ground was not holy, but it had been made holy by the presence of God. The ground was Kodesh, which simply denotes a state of belonging to the realm of the divine. But in the Hebrew Old Testament, God is never described as Kodesh. He is always described as Kadosh. Those things which are Kadosh all possess the ability to move things, or people, into, or at least toward, the realm of the divine. Although God is the ultimate source of the power to sanctify, at times he also uses certain people or places to sanctify others. Those who administer the sacrifices were also described as Kadosh. And since the atonement of Jesus Christ prepared the way for all to be able to re-enter the presence of God, those who sacrifice their time and effort are also Kadosh. And ye shall be holy unto me, for I the Lord am holy, and have severed you from other people, that ye should be mine. Leviticus 20 verse 26. For I am the Lord your God, ye shall therefore sanctify yourselves, and ye shall be holy, for I am holy. Leviticus 11 verse 43. It does not have to be a case of either or. For while in the house of the Lord, one is in his presence. This makes a person holy to the Lord. And while going to the temple may confer holiness because one is in a holy place, the goal of temple service is to become holy beings while working to sanctify others, becoming holy for the Lord. Although he does not use the word Kadosh, the Apostle James E. Faust has described this state of being. Holiness is the strength of the soul. It comes by faith and through obedience to God's laws and ordinances. God then purifies the heart by faith, and the heart becomes purged from that which is profane and unworthy. When holiness is achieved by conforming to God's will, one knows intuitively that which is wrong and that which is right before the Lord. Holiness speaks when there is silence, encouraging that which is good or reproving that which is wrong. We need to strive for holiness to the Lord so that we can return to his presence. And it is done by receiving his ordinances for ourselves and for our dead.